It's time for Remodel Revolution. And now, an award-winning contractor with over 40 years experience. Here is Alex Guthrie.
Welcome to another episode of Remodel Revolution. I'm coming to you from the headquarters, the world headquarters of Remodel Revolution, deep in the heart of the great state of Texas. I'm so glad to be back in the studio again every week. Seems like it's another miracle. I'm back in the studio, and I sure love it here. I feel right at home. I have a fantastic show for you today. This is a very, very big treat for me, and it will be for you as well. We're going to talk to a couple of young men that are graduating this year from the trades program at Skyline High School in Dallas. And they're outstanding young guys. I've talked to them a couple of times this week, and every time I talk to them, I like them a little bit more. And I thought it would be appropriate to have them come on, and since they're getting kind of it's an odd year to be graduating from high school, and we're going to talk about what their future holds for them and what their dreams and aspirations are. Also, we're going to talk to Steve Lauten. Steve is a nationally recognized air conditioning contractor, HVAC specialist. And it's that time of year again. It's getting hot, it's getting humid, and we've all been stuck in our homes running our air conditioning systems 24 hours a day, it seems like. And I want to talk about some filtration and of course maintenance and things that you need to be doing right now to get it started up. And one of the things that we're going to really spend some time discussing is how to select the correct AC contractor. I am on this website called Nextdoor, and Nextdoor is where neighbors refer people to their neighbors. And that's one of the things they do. It's kind of a gossipy. If you're on it, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of fun. But I am seeing more and more requests every day for people looking for air conditioning contractors. And I thought it'd be pretty much the right time to have that discussion with Steve. We do it every year. So let me introduce first our two guests, Ivan Ortega and Jose Patino. These are really nice young men, and we're going to talk about their graduation and what their future holds in store for them, or their dreams. Welcome, guys. How are you? Good morning.
Hello, how you doing?
I got
today?
both of you out of bed before noon. That's pretty good for 18-year-olds, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You guys are having sort of a different type of graduation this year. It's virtual. Tell me what you think about that. Ivan, what are your thoughts?
Well, I wasn't expecting it to be like this because I wanted to have a formal graduation, actually walk across the stage and like see all my friends walk across the stage and be able to have the feeling like how it feels to walk the stage.
Yeah, you wanted to throw that cap in the air too, didn't you?
Yeah.
What are you thinking about it, Jose?
I'm honestly thinking about the same thing. I was hoping to walk across the stage and just be in person with all my friends and everything, family. You don't really get that same feel or that same feel when you're doing it virtually.
Yeah.
I still think we're lucky enough to be able to do it virtually. How are they going to do it virtually? I do not know. Especially it being a large school and all.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll look back here in a couple of years and you'll just be proud that you got that diploma, however you got it. I know that I wasn't the best student when I was in high school, and the fact that I graduated was reward enough for me. You know, it was, but I have a little thing I wrote that I thought I wanted to just kind of share with you guys, and and share with the audience. When I graduated a long time ago, about 45 years ago, actually, we were able to spend time with our friends and do things like parties and get together and talk about what our dreams were and where we were going to go to college and if we were going to go to college and things like that. And of course, those memories stay with you forever. Are you guys able to get together with your friends and talk about that, or are you having to do everything virtually?
Yeah, everything virtually.
Yeah. So you're not breaking the rules and getting together. Come on, you can tell me nobody's watching.
No.
Okay, well that's good. That's good because we don't want you guys to get sick. We want you to be healthy. We need you down the road. So, Jose, you have plans. You have plans for the future. Let's talk about what happens to you or where you're going in about 2 weeks.
In about 2 weeks, I'll still be here. I'll just right now I'm just working for a fast food chain or a restaurant chain, and hopefully in 2 weeks, I'll be able to have a little bit more freedom.
Well, you're going into the National Guard, correct?
Yes, that's in 2 months.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had that wrong. I thought that was in 2 weeks. That's in 2 months. So how does that, are you going to take a couple of months off and just kind of chill and then end up in the Guard, or where are you going? Where are they sending you?
This, in 2 months in late July, I believe July 23rd, I, depart to Georgia, which is quite a bit ways away.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be, going there for 6 months, basically 24 weeks.
You know, if you want to make friends in Georgia, there's 2 things that you have to tell them. You like you tell them you like boiled peanuts and peaches.
Well, you may be very right about that.
You'll figure that out real quick.
Yeah.
So what made you decide you wanted to go to the National Guard?
Part of it was the benefits for free college and education, and then the healthcare benefits as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the National Guard seemed like a very good way to go for the simple fact it's like a stepping stone kind of. If by the time my term is up, if I continue to like the Army and stuff, I can make a full-on career out of it and continue doing it, or I can just go a separate way.
Well, that's fantastic. That's a great plan. It really is. And a lot of us think that should be offered or more available to more young people to go into the service and get a college education. And I think you've made fantastic decisions. So you're interested in plumbing and carpentry coming out of the trade class at Skyline. Tell me, how was your impression of taking the trade classes at Skyline High School? Did you have fun?
Yes, I had very fun. The class was a little small. At first there were 6 of us, but towards the end of senior year there was only 5 of us. We became like kind of like a family, and they're always making fun of each other, having fun. But we also learned quite a bit as well, such as like the safety precautions and stuff for each tool, how to use each tool.
You didn't play tricks on each other, did you? You didn't mess with each other like you would on a construction site. You didn't do any of that, did you?
No.
No.
If we did, that stayed in class. Stop. We can't do that.
No. They won't let you do that, will they?
No.
So, Ivan, you are interested in electrical and moving into a 2-year college and then getting into electrical. What got you there? What made you so fascinated with electricity?
Well, at first I started watching YouTube videos about electrical, like how everything works and everything, and then that caught my eye, the way that people like able to wire things in the house and like make it work, and then like all that fascinates me, like to be able to learn how to plug everything up in a house or like in a commercial building or roads or
I think that's a great. Listen, there's a great future in electricity because of our energy sources are changing, and we're going into low voltage. I interviewed a gentleman in California, that does electrical in houses, but he does mostly low voltage. And I said, when are you going to get to a point where we can do an entire house in low voltage? And he goes, soon. He didn't have a great answer. But I think that you're making a fantastic career choice because there's like endless opportunities in what you're doing. How did you enjoy, I guess if there was just 5 of you in this shop class or trades class, you guys must have all become pretty good friends.
yeah, we were.
Any girls?
Nah, there was no girls. I
Oh.
think in the sophomore class there was one girl, but not in our class.
Well, none of them were that brave. No, I mean, not that girls aren't brave. I don't mean it that way at all. I may have just got myself in trouble. I couldn't find anybody who want to hang around 5 guys is what I meant. Well, guys, you two are really, really sharp guys, and I want to hear each of you quickly, and we'll start with Ivan. What are your dreams for the future? What do you see, let's say in 5-10 years? Are you looking that far ahead yet?
Yes, I have. Like I look into like starting my own electrical company and like hopefully go back to college and like further my degree and hopefully a master's.
That is fantastic. That really is. I'm real proud of you. You seem like a really good guy. And Jose, what about you? What's your dream for 5-10 years down the road?
Hopefully, hopefully in 10 years, I own my own business as well. I'm hoping to do it in construction, preferably carpentry or plumbing. But I know plenty of guys who knows different trades, so maybe that can like help to my advantage and help my like company or something like that.
Well,
just hopefully for it to grow and have a good foundation.
Well, I'm really proud of both of you, and I have a feeling you're going to have a fantastic career in whatever trade you decide to do, and I understand why your school was so proud of you that they asked me or gave me your names for this interview. And thanks so much for coming on the show today, and I look forward to talking to you maybe in 5 years. We'll see how you're doing. Good luck, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was Ivan Ortega and Jose Patino. And what a couple of fine young guys. It gives me a great hope for the future to understand that with all of the things that have happened in this last year that have kind of waylaid their plans for their graduation year, nothing has taken away their dreams. And that is the most important thing to get them down the road. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to have Steve Lauten. We'll be right back. The hardest working and arguably most important system in our homes is our air conditioning and heating system. It heats the air, it cools the air, and it filters the air. That's why it's so critical to have it checked and maintained by the very best professionals available. It's time to contact Total Air and Heat at totalair.com. Get that system pruned and tuned. If you want to have the very best experience, you've got to hire the very best company. Total Air's employees are honest, well-trained, and thoroughly background checked. I never have to worry about sending their technicians out to my clients' homes. Family owned and operated for 3 generations, Total Air and Heat has been a fixture in North Dallas for over 60 years. Total Air is a proud dealer of the Trane air conditioning systems, and you know how hard it is to stop a train, so give them a call at 972-881-0020. That's 972-881-0020, or contact them at totalair.com today. Welcome back to the show. We are everywhere on the internet. And I wanted to just kind of spend a couple of minutes while we're setting up our next interview to kind of tell you, I keep seeing people on the internet asking for new podcasts. I guess they're getting kind of going through their podcast list and looking for more stuff to listen to. Well, let me tell you, there is a fantastic podcast. It's called Remodel Revolution, and it is on everything. It is on iHeart, iTunes. It is on Spotify. It is on Pandora. We are virtually, if you can't find it, you need to call your podcast site and tell them they need to get on the stick. So go find that podcast, Remodel Revolution. We have great shows, great information, fantastic guests, and we can be found anywhere. Also, check us out on Facebook. If you're watching this live, you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube. Go in and like us and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We need to get more people subscribed to our YouTube channel. And also like us on our podcast. We'd like to build up a bigger audience. We're getting a lot of listeners. We're getting more and more people finding us, and we're really, really proud of that. Now, I want to talk real quickly about one of our affiliates, Texas Weather TV, Texas Weather Channel TV. Texas Weather Tracker TV. I should know that. They rebroadcast our shows on Sundays at 1 and 3. And this is a online TV channel that is really, really fun. I watch them a lot. They've got great information. It's a real easy mobile app to use or on your computer. And check them out, and let's get them populated really well so that they can keep going as well. So now we have my good friend, Steve Lauten with Total Air and Heat. There he is. Morning, buddy.
Alex.
How are you?
I'm great. How about you?
Man, you look all nice and clean, and looks like, you're actually, well, it is after 10 in the morning, so I guess you're normally up by now. Our last guest, I was afraid I was going to have to wake them out of bed because they're young guys, How are you, buddy?
I'm excellent. Things are going well. It's that time of year that we love.
It's the time of year that kind of lights your things up, get your front door swinging open.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to talk quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but with this COVID-19 and these protocols of going into people's houses, what are you all having to do for your service people? And what are you requiring of your homeowners when you're going to go into a house?
We've done our best to keep it pretty simple. Our dispatchers will talk to the customer before we come out and ask if anybody in the home has a temperature. And if they say no, then we'll go ahead and dispatch our technicians out. All of our techs are equipped with masks, disposable gloves, and we've used booties, shoe protectors or covers to keep them from tracking anything in the house.
Mm-hmm.
We give the customer the option of, do they want us to operate the thermostat and then wipe it down after we're done? Or if the customer wants to do it themselves and just adjust it as we need. That's pretty much it. We've kept it simple, and so far it's gone really well. Haven't encountered any
And so
So challenges yet.
how's your workforce held up through all of this? Have any of them contracted the virus?
Nobody has contracted COVID-19 or
Fantastic.
luckily any other virus.
Hmm.
I did have one employee who's had a organ transplant in the past, and his doctor recommended that he not work for a few weeks just to see how things shake out. And
Hmm.
he's back to work, and he wears a mask all the time, even here in the office. We have in the office made sure that everybody's 6 feet apart and everybody has masks to wear here when they're walking around the building.
Hmm.
Lots of hand sanitizer on the trucks
Yeah.
and in the bathrooms and stuff like that.
So essentially, your workmen, what they have to do is when they're out servicing inside particularly the living portion of the house, they're just cleaning up after themselves. They're going in covered and protected and clean, and then before they leave, they clean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh, and even if we're doing an install, majority of that's up in the attic. And
Right.
so we don't have to spend a whole lot of time in what you would call the living space, but we do our best.
Well, a lot of your service work is on the outdoor equipment anyway, so that's
Absolutely.
not an issue. Yeah, that's great.
Our employees have been really awesome about this too. They've been very positive, and none of them really had an issue with working during this, as long as we gave them the things to protect themselves.
Well, and that's awesome, and they're lucky because a lot of people haven't been able to work. So bless them. They've been blessed with the ability to keep going. That's fantastic. But now it's that time of year. I think high humidity and heat. Well, that apparently is good for killing the virus, but it's also means that your
Air conditioners.
yeah, right, right. So I wanted to ask you to spend a minute and talk to us about the fact that people are now officing out of their homes, spending lots more hours indoors than normal. And are you having any special things you're running into along those lines?
That wouldn't necessarily call it special, but that customers are certainly a lot more aware of what's going on in their home when they're spending all day in it. So those people who maybe have trouble with their systems are calling us up and wanting something done about it because they don't want to stay at home and be uncomfortable.
Sure, sure.
Outside of that, it really not a whole lot's changed because air conditioners typically work their hardest in the late afternoon, and let's just say between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. in the summertime while the sun's up and we're got that peak temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
So customers are certainly calling us and saying, hey, I've got a problem, and probably a little bit more so now that they're officing out of their house. One thing that we have encountered is a lot
Okay.
interest in indoor air quality.
Start over. I lost you there for a second.
UV light.
Mm-hmm.
Let me start over.
Yeah.
We have had a lot of more interest lately in indoor air quality, and in particular UV lights, since UV lights is really good at helping to eliminate viruses.
Yes.
Particularly the flu virus. And while we don't have anything that specifically says it eliminates COVID-19, UV lights in general are going to help against any kind of airborne.
So how does that work? Is that something that's inserted into the return part of the system where all the air that goes through it goes through a UV system somehow?
Yes. It can be in the return duct, or it can be on the supply plenum, or in the transition between the furnace and the cooling coil. When possible, we would like to put it between the furnace and the cooling coil because it also irradiates the cooling coil itself and helps eliminate odors and any kind of algae bacteria growth on the cooling coil.
That's fascinating. You know, this whole episode we're going through right now is causing us to kind of look at things we took for granted, and kind of reassessing how things work. And that's one of them. The UV light. That's fascinating. I love that. What about filtration? Are you changing it,
Yeah.
or just?
People are certainly more sensitive to filtration indoors. You know, you've probably seen a lot of pictures on the internet lately of dirty air filters with the caption that you're worried about COVID-19 and this is the air you're breathing in your home.
Yeah. Right.
So no doubt indoor air quality has been and remains a peak area of interest from our customers. And
what would you consider the best filtration system, the best reasonable, affordable type filtration system to have in your home?
I personally like the media air cleaners that use a replaceable filter cartridge between 4 and 5 inches. It's very straightforward in that you pretty much just slide the cartridge out, throw it away, slide a new one in, and they're typically good for 6 months to 12 months. I recently had a customer who hadn't changed theirs in 3 years plus.
A couple of centuries.
Wondering why their cooling coil was icing up. I've got those filters in my office. It's pretty ugly, just how dirty they were. But the great thing about that is it still protected the system, and the blower and the cooling coil stayed clean.
Wow.
And all that dirt was stuck in the filter. And that's the key to the whole thing we're talking about. Whatever air and dirt that goes through your air filter that doesn't get captured ends up on your cooling coil. And that's why drain lines clog up, Alex, is what the dirt that got through the air filter ends up on the cooling coil, especially in the summertime. That coil is wet, and it does actually filter the air some, but it also captures all that dirt on the coil, washes it down the coil into the drain pan, and creates a pretty ugly looking sludge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Slime.
Yes, it does.
Clog your drain line.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Steve about how to select your AC contractor, or maybe better is who not to select. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go away. Sometimes it's a question of, do I call or don't I call the foundation repair company? Well, what if I tell you that I know a foundation repair company that will tell you if you don't need foundation repair? That's right. Hargrave and Hargrave Foundation Repair has been in business for over 50 years, and they know the difference. One of the last family-owned foundation repair businesses in North Texas. Not only are they honest, they know what causes your foundation to move, and they know how to fix it. Don't be duped by fly-by-night foundation companies that provide shortcuts and messy fixes. Call Hargrave and Hargrave Foundation Repair at 972-442-3415 at the first sign of trouble. Hargrave uses the Chance helical pier system exclusively because it's the highest quality, most reliable helical pier money can buy. 972-442-3415 or contact them at hargravefoundation.com. We're with my very good friend Steve Lauten with Total Air and Heat in Dallas, and we're discussing kind of a huge range of interesting things, but Steve is a very interesting guy. And one of the things, Steve, that I am seeing in my neighborhood little email that comes out, every day, the Nextdoor website that I'm on, is people asking for recommendations for AC contractors, because now that they're home all day, and of course it's that summertime, it's your favorite time of year because you get to replace a lot of systems and you get a big service in, a lot of service work coming your way. But what are some of the tips that you give people for the good and bad decisions people making these selections?
The first tip I would give, Alex, is step back and think about it for a second. If you're a customer, you can't send somebody out, get somebody to come out to your house for 25 to 30, 40 bucks and expect them to make money. That puts pressure on the technician to find a problem. Maybe it's legit. Many times it's marginal or not really necessary. And they're just trying to sell you system enhancements. So a reasonable cost for a tune-up is at least $60 to around $95. And the difference between those levels many times is the $60 one includes cleaning the condenser, does not include cleaning the condenser coil, and the $95 one does. So you're going to spend, to make the math easy, about $100 to keep your system operating properly throughout the summer
without repairs.
Yes, and that's why we call it preventative maintenance. We do look for weak capacitors, contactors that are burnt, things of that nature that could fail, but we don't put pressure on the customer. You have to do this right now. They can think about it and we'll come back. It's up to them. We'll typically take the part off and show them the defective one and versus what a new one looks like. We can show them on our meters a weak capacitor and how you test them. We just want everybody to have peace of mind that whatever we're doing is in their best interest.
So in air conditioning, if it sounds too good to be true, be prepared to be sweating at midnight.
You could be that, or be prepared to open your wallet up even wider.
That's right.
And that's the part that, our technicians do not work on a commission. They're under no pressure to hurry up, and they're under no pressure to sell the customer anything. They're sole focused, find out what's wrong, thoroughly look at the system, advise the customer of any things that they should be concerned about, let the customer decide what they want, and take care of them.
How hard does our air conditioner, what's the average hours, or how hard does our system typically run when it starts getting up to this 80, 90 degree heat?
The typical air conditioning system, just the air conditioning portion, runs enough hours and RPMs is equivalent to a car that goes at least 50,000 miles a year. You add in the heating portion of it, we're talking 75,000 or more miles a year. And would you drive your car without having it serviced for that many miles? Of course not. Air conditioners the same way. It's an investment. You can, using a very old saying, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. You're going to pay.
Right.
So why not maintain that system? It can reduce your energy bills $100 a year easily just by having a clean condenser coil.
Well, not only that, it makes it a lot more comfortable. I know that
dehumidification in particular.
We had a system that had not been serviced for a while. We were in a rent house, and it started not working quite right. And I finally talked the landlord into getting it serviced, and that's all the guy had to do was service it, and it was totally amazing how much better that system worked, operated cost-wise, but comfort-wise.
No question about it, Alex. One thing that can really suffer on air conditioning systems these days is if it's a little bit low on refrigerant, it won't dehumidify as well as it should, and it's going to use a lot more energy also. That's why we suggest customers at least get their air conditioning system checked once a year, get it serviced, get it ready to do its hard work throughout the summer.
So let's talk about dehumidification, because in the area that we live in, we battle humidity a lot this time of year. But also, when you just have a regular forced air conditioning system in your home, you're introducing moist air into your house, and it has, if it's not controlled properly, dehumidified or properly controlled, you end up with potentially big problems. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Sure. First of all, an air conditioner that is a single stage system is no different than a light bulb that you turn on or turn off. It doesn't have any variable capacity. It doesn't vary the airflow. It doesn't vary anything. And so a system like that, if the ductwork's not sealed, if the system isn't sized right, in particular the ductwork, I'd rather see a house that has a slightly undersized air conditioner than an oversized one. And the reason why is an undersized one is going to at least run long enough to help dehumidify the house. An air conditioner that's oversized will come on, just run a couple of minutes, shut right back off, and it'll actually what we call short cycle. And your comfort level is just not going to be where it should be. Relative humidity in the house in the summertime should be around 55% to 45%. And anything in between those numbers, system for the most part is working pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's dehumidifying the house.
Well, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. They think that, it's just blowing cold air, but what it's really doing, it's really taking hot air out.
You're exactly right, Alex. The primary purpose for an air conditioner is to dehumidify before it even changes the temperature. Willis Carrier created air conditioning, and his first installation was for a printing plant. They were having problem with the paper sticking together because it was too humid in the plant. So he learned how to get rid of that humidity, and in that process, it also took heat away and moved it outdoors.
So it was an accident.
Indoor coil is dirty. The outdoor coil is dirty, or your air filter is dirty. All three of those things impact how well your system works.
Mm-hmm. Well, this time of year, you may have to wait a little bit to get a service person out there. How do you advise people to, is it just like get in line right now?
Well, if you're looking for a system tune-up, we're certainly booked out a couple of weeks. We're getting close to, for preventative maintenance, getting booked up for all of June.
Wow.
We always have emergency service available or same-day service available, but that's typically because the system is not working the way that it should, and there's a breakdown. Mm-hmm. So common sense, get in line, pick the contractor you trust, and get your system tuned up and preventive maintenance done.
So
and
real cool, in our last couple of minutes, I want to talk real quickly about licensing requirements, because when people are trying to save money to get this stuff done, sometimes there might be a guy that's out there advertising his services, but he might be working under someone else's license and they don't know it, or he's not licensed at all. How do you ask, how's the proper way to ask and get that worked out, or what are the requirements?
It's pretty straightforward to find out if your contractor is actually licensed. You ask them for their license number, and you can go to the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations website, and you can actually look up that license number and see who is assigned to and which company. That's the way it works, is that my license is only good for my company or wherever I work. If I don't work for my own company, work somewhere else, my company can't use my license number, and I can't let my license be used by anybody else.
Well, I really appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. As always, your information is amazing, and anybody can depend on what you're telling them. And it's mostly just practical sense, good shopping habits, things like that. I really appreciate you being here, and have a fantastic day. Thank you, Mr. Steve Lauten with Total Air and Heat.
Take care, Alex. Good seeing you.
Thank you. Well, if you are looking for a contractor, you're thinking about remodeling your house, we're sort of coming out of this virus, this pandemic, sort of coming out of it as much as we can expect at this point. And demand is going to get pretty high, I think. That's my feeling. I'm already starting to get some phone calls. Give me a call, contact me, Alex at alexguthrie.net. You can call me at 469-446-8508. Check out my website. We have been in business for about 40 years or longer, probably, since I basically worked for myself forever. Give me a call. We're trying to sign up some business. We do additions, remodels. We'll build you a new house if you want. I'd love to hear from you. Also, I do a lot of consulting for people. Even if they have a different contractor, we'll consult with them if they have questions. And I want to thank Ivan Ortega, Jose Patino, and Steve Lauten for showing up being on the show today. And also Ziggy Becker with On Air Media and the people at On Air Media who are fantastic. Also, thank you to our sponsors. We love you and we need you. And I appreciate you hanging in there with us through this pandemic. It's been very encouraging. And also, of course, our audience. You folks are great. I get lots of great feedback, a lot of wonderful emails. And don't ever hesitate to send me a question, Alex at remodelrevolutionradio.com or Alex at remodelrev.com. And I'll be happy to respond to you. I respond to all my emails. Next week, we have Lacey Rogers with Living Right Designs. And she's a designer, and that's going to be a lot of fun. She's young. She's just been in business a few years, and she lives in a part of town that there's a lot of old homes. And I was really interested in talking to her when I did about some of the things they're doing on these old homes. These are 100-year-old houses. So until next week, this is Alex Guthrie signing off. Thank you, and have a great week.
The views and opinions of this program are for educational and entertainment purposes only and are not intended to replace the recommendations of a hired professional. You can catch Remodel Revolution anytime. Follow the show on the website, remodelrevolutionradio.com, or on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, using the handle at Remodel Revolution Radio. You can always listen to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and TuneIn, and watch the show anytime on YouTube.